Let me know if you find this useful. It's going to cover the first 4-5 topics of our modules that are coming for internals. So this is going to be the very basic. I think you may not find it as difficult as the other parts, but it's obviously a start. Anyway, so first thing that is to be spoken about is the evolution of machine learning or machine language. Alright, so basically it talks about what do you say, how the languages have evolved in over the time. So first it was the famous binary code, which was ones and zeros and one and zero and one and zero, which was the most it's literally hell. I mean, why would you do that? And to learn such big pieces of code or to code such huge chunks of data, it's difficult to do using this, and that evolved into our assembly language, which again is a pain in the ass because it basically deals with the movement of data from one place to another. It's basically just shifting of registers and performing some operations, and if you haven't focused on microprocessors, it's I don't have anything to say to you. Anyway, then after assembly language comes our low level language, which is our C language, not C++, our C language. And the other procedural oriented, low level languages is procedural. Procedural. Yeah, and other than C, there's Fortran, COBOL, and all those boring languages which QBasic. We had that in 6th grade. It's fun. PSET is also, if you're interested, you can actually Google it. It's quite interesting. Okay, so this is about low languages. After low level languages, when you found out that there were limitations with low level languages, for example, it's not as user friendly or as coder friendly as it should be. This gave evolution to the high level languages, which is our C++ and the languages after that. Okay, now these languages are very understandable, and it can be communicated or taught to anybody in an easy way when compared to these things. I mean, you already have idea with this. You know how beautiful it is. So yeah, that's what I'm saying, that high level languages are easier to understand and so much beautiful to code. And although the logic applied for any of this is the same, anything you do, the logic that you apply is going to be the same for throughout this thing, but just the words or the vocabulary that the languages uses is what makes sets it apart from the others. So we're going to be learning C++ for this semester, and it's being taught to us using the subject name OOPS. Now, why OOPS? Because C++ is programmed or written using the concept of OOPS. Okay, now if you haven't cleared that out already, that OOPS, which is your object oriented programming, I don't know what S stands for, you can Google it. I actually Googled it but found nothing. Anyway, so OOPS is a concept and not a language. Like C is a language, or C++ is a language, COBOL is a language. Similarly, but no, not similarly, dissimilarly, OOPS is not a language. Okay, and it's a concept. Okay, and for example, in procedural languages, procedural oriented languages, you have this approach of everything, where everything goes ekdam step by step. Okay, like first this step would be executed, then second this would be executed, third this would be executed, and so on and so forth. But in our object-oriented language, there's no rule such as like that. Okay, you can have a class over here for all you want. You can have like a billion classes, and this class could call this class, and then it could go back to this class, and then it could come back to this class, and all of those interactions happen, which basically will make your life so much more easier, because the same thing that you have for procedural language can be of a billion lines, can be comprised in like 30 or 50 lines in, object oriented programming. So that's why it's very easier, or it's very less complex than procedural languages. I would again take I'm not a fan of assembly language, so I'm just going to keep saying its name a lot of times. But in assembly language, you've seen, right? I mean, to do one task, you need a billion of lines, like billion of coded lines, like, you should move AX to BX and do whatnot and blah, blah, blah. And then after all of that jazz, you have to add. Okay, when you had to freaking add, why did you do all of that? But then that's again a very basic level language. I'm not against assembly language for those who like it. But the same operation, my point is that the same operation can be performed with just two lines or just one line by saying int c a plus b. That's all you need when compared to this. And you see the difference between, a procedure-oriented language and, all of this may not be an appropriate example to show you, what an object-oriented programming language can do. But I hope this clears the point of the fact that, the number of lines are reduced. You have more flexibility. You can do whatever you want, and there are less to few rules when it comes to OOPS. So that's why a lot of people like C++ because it provides you enormous features, some of which are basic of them are encapsulation and abstraction and polymorphism, inheritance, and I don't know if I'm forgetting anything. Let me see. So these are the very basic principles of OOPS, alright? Because they are the heart and soul of the language, because this is why people prefer it. And if you actually get into it, and if you actually have the time and interest to go through it, it's actually so beautiful and so logical, and everything makes sense. I would urge you to further Google it, or try to find out more about it. But that's totally up to you. If you just want to pass exam, that's also fine. Anyway, so I will be discussing about each of them, because this is already crossing 8 minutes. Yeah, so I'll be discussing each of them in more detail in the next video. But this is what basically would cover the first half of your first module. It has 2 halves, so yeah, another one video maybe. Okay, thank you.